Hi, and welcome to Frog Vlog. We've got frogs, we've got vlogs, and we've got a great love for nature. So what I want to do in this video today is I want to rank things that are sort of like frogs but aren't. Now what does this mean? Well, the world is full of things and the world is full of frogs, but unfortunately here in the suburbs of southern Ontario, there's not a lot of frogs just hopping around. So I've gathered up some items that surround my house that aren't frogs, but maybe they're like frogs. Let's start out with the classic origami frog. Now this guy, I rank him high in his similarity to a frog because he's got the body shape of a frog. He's got 4 legs, he's got a head, and I think he fits the essence of a frog particularly well. And one thing I think this frog does great at in emulating froggy essence is the way that frogs hunt, because some frogs are ambush hunters, meaning that they sit still, they hide, they rely on stealth, and then when prey comes by, they grab it. And then other frogs are more active predators who go out searching for their prey, and they find it, they might chase after it, they hunt it down. And I think this frog is great at emulating both of those because it can sit nice and still and calm, but it can also hop around. So that being said, we're going to place our little froggy first, right in the middle of our ranking. Now it's time to tell you that I lied a little bit because I said all the items were going to be items I had lying around my house. This second one is not, and in fact I don't have it in my possession. But the second item I'm going to be ranking in its relation to frogs is a plant called a frog orchid. Now, I chose this item because it's what came up when I googled plant that looks like a frog, and it has the word frog in it, so that's positive, that's going for this plant. And supposedly the flowers of this plant look like frogs as well, which is why it's called the frog orchid. Now, I don't really see this. If I squint real hard, it sort of reminds me of a frog dance troupe doing some kind of dance move. I don't know very much about dancing, so it doesn't look much like a frog, maybe a little bit, up to interpretation. But something this item does have going for it over our origami frog is that it is a living thing. Now granted, it's not part of the animal kingdom, it's part of the plant kingdom, so it's not very closely related to any frogs, but it's living, and for that reason mainly, I'm going to rank it above our origami frog. And another similarity this plant happens to have with the frog is that it's really widely distributed throughout different places in the world. And frogs, there's lots of different types of frogs, but if you consider them all together as one group, they're also really widely distributed throughout the world. That's another positive. And I've got this leaf that I'm going to use to represent our frog orchid since I don't have one, and we're going to place it above our origami frog. The third item I have to show you is a pen. It's just a green pen. This really has nothing to do with a frog. It's not alive. It doesn't look like a frog. It's green, which is a color that frogs can be. It's a classic frog color, but frogs can be lots of colors too. So our green pen, as useful as it is to write things down, is going to go at the bottom of our rankings. Sorry, pen. Our next item is Bailey. She's a dog. She's like a frog because she's living and she's an animal, but she's a mammal and she's really heavy, so I'm going to put her down now. Thank you, boo-boo. yeah, she is a little more annoying than a frog. Like, you think about a frog and they just sort of sit around, they're not really bothering anyone. But she is really noisy sometimes, and frogs can be really noisy. Like in the middle of their mating season, you just hear them chirping and chirping and calling. Be really annoying. So I guess in that way, she has something in common with frogs. And frog sounds like dog. Wow. So for that reason, Miss Bailey Boo is going to move to the top of our rankings for now. So I've got Miss Bailey Boo here settled at the top of our rankings for now. I realized before I mentioned she's a mammal, but I didn't compare that to frogs, which if you don't know, they're amphibians. So Bailey is more related to a frog than a plant is, but she's still not super closely related to a frog. And another thing about Bailey is, like most dogs, she creates a lot of saliva, which she feels free to drool on pillows and people's legs and her own fur. So her dedication to saliva really honors the spirit of a frog, because saliva is so important to frogs when they're catching their own food, because they stick their tongue out to catch their food, as many people know, and their saliva starts out pretty thick, but when it hits a bug or whatever they're trying to catch, it actually becomes thinner so it can coat the bug better. And when they bring their tongue back in, the saliva hardens up again. So it's a really neat trick that lets them catch their food. Hey girl. The last thing I'll be ranking is me. Am I like a frog? Let's review the facts. I'm alive, like Bailey is, like a plant is. I'm also a mammal like Bailey, and unlike a frog. I have a lot of features that a frog has, like eyes, a tongue, 4 limbs, but unlike a frog, I am bipedal, meaning I walk on 2 legs. And I think I emulate the spirit of a frog pretty well. Don't ask me why, I don't know. I just feel I could hang out with a group of frogs and they wouldn't be too mad at me. We just sort of have a good time. And just subjectively, I think I'm pretty cool. So my ranking is gonna be right up here at the top. What we learned today is I'm like a frog because I'm cool and frogs are cool. I hope everyone enjoyed our frog vlog for today, and tune in next time.